What it do, y'all? It's your boy South AV back on one. Oh, damn. Got, man, pause. I just got tongue tied like a motherfucker. But yeah, what it do, South? It's your boy South AV. It's with you. This is getting it out. What it do, y'all? It's your boy now South AV with a whole nother video. And today, I will be looking at the mini beefs of Michael Jackson. Yes, Michael Jackson had beef. I am very surprised about this shit. My damn self. But this nigga had beef. And knowing that, I could not really, I could imagine. Because bro sold records. When I say results, we still bump this man's music to this day, and that is a big deal for his name. Now, it's a lot of folks we still bump to this day that's deceased and still here, and they all bumping. But this man, we gotta play this nigga shit at least 3 times a day. You hear me? That's how serious it is behind this man's name. Bullet Chair. But shout out to all y'all favorite artists. Put down in the comments who your favorite artist is, because we all got the people we love to bump on the way to work, on the way to the store, all that shit. On the way to get some, you hear me? But anyways, yeah, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what's your favorite Michael Jackson track, and be sure to smash the like button and the subscribe button. I know I said that. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna always say it, so get used to it. But anyways, yo, let's go ahead and get into this video because I really want to know what the fuck this nigga had going on back in the day. Cause what the hell, Mike? It's a no ad zone, my boy. Somebody should have told you that. But no cap. Mike always been the man. My pops and my mom put me on Mike as soon as I was soon as I could walk. I'm already bumping Billie Jean, Thriller. Man, you rock my world. Man, I can go all motherfucking day, to be honest, man. Behind the mask. Who is it? Dirty Diana. Off the wall. Billie Jean. Remember that time. Earth Song. Not to mention all the J5 class. I ain't even do all that. I really want to know down to the nitty gritty because I really know a lot about this man's past. But here's the thing, because of the films, and I can't wait because the new film is coming out. I think this year. I presume. I don't know. I gotta recheck. I forgot all about that shit. But still, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe about the video. Not about the video, but yeah, just be sure to just come down south. I swear, food is delicious. This explains why I'm so chunky right now. I ain't chunky. Yes, I am. I don't know, to be honest. But no, let me stop yapping because let's get my shit set up before I hit play. I want to make sure I'm well organized. You know, shit. Yeah, here we go. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, now here we go. God damn. Why did I do that? I'm fucking up.
Surprising. Not only because they're some of the biggest. When you think about Michael Jackson, you probably think of a soft-spoken, charitable, and kind artist. And while all of that may be true, what a lot of people don't realize is that he could be a little cutthroat, especially when it came to beefs and business, which inevitably led to him having some serious back and forths with his fellow artists, with some labeling.
Okay, by the one, by the one. That's crazy. It is early in the morning. But nah, by the way, if y'all must know, Mike was a Leo. You hear me? So I kind of understand him. You see what I'm saying? Business is business, but friendships are friendships. You know how us Leos are. You know, most wanted but most hated. You hear me? But here's the thing though. Don't never get friends and business mixed up, because that's where problems come in, especially when it comes to big money. When it's big money, yeah, I ain't even gonna lie. I can't wait to know this shit. Let me stop yapping.
Him cold as ice. So join me today as we look into the many beefs of Michael Jackson. When Michael
Okay,
Jackson
Maddie.
and Eminem beefed, it was pretty surprising. Not only because they're some of the biggest names in the music industry, but also because of the weird ways they went about taking shots at one another. Em and Mike's
That shit is crazy. Why the fuck would you even do that shit? Why? No, no way. I don't know. Beefs is beefs. I really don't dip my finger in pies I don't like. I don't like beef, but I love sirloin. Pause. But nah, it's crazy how I heard about this shit when I was young. I just never followed up on it because I had other things to worry about at the time, like Bakugan and Tech Decks and all that shit. So I usually like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
relationship had its first road bump back in 2003. This is when M was in Glasgow for a show, where at his hotel,
This I do remember.
watching,
I do
he
remember
angled and
Mike.
tossed around a baby doll out of his window. With
Yeah,
that
I
context,
do
you're
remember
probably
Mike doing
wondering,
that.
what does that have to do with Michael? Well, a few months earlier, MJ was in Berlin for an awards ceremony.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he
Now this I do remember as a kid. My mom and pops was tripping about this shit. I remember this shit, and this is probably the scariest one. This was probably the scariest I've ever been of Michael Jackson. Just off the simple fact that this nigga looked like a ghost for a split second. Sorry, Mike, I'm just saying. But this nigga was still cold. But nigga, you are. I didn't know if he was crazy. I ain't know, but I just knew at the time to me it wasn't a big deal. But as I grew older and figured out what he like, kind of put together what he was actually doing, nigga played too damn much.
his 8-month-old son out the window. Mike faced some obvious backlash for this terrible mistake, which led to him eventually apologizing, saying, "I got caught up in the excitement of the moment. I would never intentionally endanger the lives of my children." This is a weird thing to do regardless of excitement. Maybe he was just trying to show the kid off to the crowd. That could be it. I don't know.
That's all that
What's
was.
important is that it was a pretty bad public moment for Michael, which he took a decent amount of criticism for. And that's why Eminem mocked him. So you could see how this would start a bit of a rift between Michael and M, who weren't even friends before any of this. But Eminem decided to take it a step further. In 2004, Eminem dropped the song Just Lose It as the lead single for his album Encore. Along with the song was a music video.
The nose allegations that popped up in so many films, from Scary Movie and like, I don't even know how many times I done heard that shit. I heard it in White Chicks. I swear I heard that joke about his nose so many times. It don't make no sense, but like, damn, bruh. Hop off my nigga, because guess what? A lot of these females is doing this shit now. And it's the thing, so I don't even want to hear that shit.
Which had multiple scenes clearly mocking Michael.
At least get the damn moves right, M. Damn. Is that even M? I don't know if it's M, but whoever you are, get the move. That sloppy Joe ass moonwalk he just did, man.
Michael.
That's all he did. See, look at this shit. Form off. All he did right was a spin.
Scenes clearly mocking Michael. Which had multiple scenes clearly mocking Michael.
What the fuck is this? Nigga, if you gonna do that, you need to, your hand don't need to be all the way up here. You finna dislocate your fucking shoulder trying to do this shit. Nigga, shit. Jesus, I'm not gonna keep pausing it, but damn, god damn.
But it wasn't just the video that screwed things up, because when you look into the lyrics, M goes at Mike with some pretty wild subliminals. Early in the song's intro, M says, "Alright, stop, pajama time." This isn't just some MC Hammer pun. He's instead referring to the 2003 Michael Jackson documentary, Living with Michael Jackson. in which Mike discussed letting kids sleep in his bed. And throughout the rest of Just Lose It, M continued to take more digs at Mickael and his case, saying things like, "Guess who's back with a brand new rap?" And I don't mean rap as in a new case of child molestation accusations.
That's fucked up. I don't even want to get into that, but at the same time, if you know, you know. But that shit took a toll on everybody's mental. And nigga, I was a kid. Nigga, the way my mama and pops was talking about that shit, it's like, damn. I'm thinking it's just another conversation at the table, or another conversation just lingering around the living room. But it's like we leave the crib, you know, go to the bay, go chill with my auntie and them, and get what? They talking about this shit. I'm like, it must be kind of serious. And then we leave from over there, go chill with my uncle and them. You see what I'm saying? With my cousins. Now they all talking about this shit. And it's like, god damn. Is it that bad? I'm damn near. I went from playing with my toys to being invested in this shit. And the nigga, I don't even know the nigga. I just bumped the nigga and I watch his videos type shit. So it's like, damn. It must really be some shit. But you know, like I said, you can't really just get into that. You gotta do your own research on that. Comment down below if y'all die-hard Michael Jackson fan. Cause if so, y'all saw it through like the rest of us. Because that shit was ridiculous. That shit was ridiculous. But yeah, back to this. I ain't gonna lie. The fit, hard as hell. Shoes, probably. I don't know.
I done touched on everything but little boys, and that's not a stab at Mickael. That's just a metaphor. I'm just a psycho. Obviously, the Michael Jackson allegations were a huge thing at the time, and while eventually he was found not guilty, Eminem making fun of this probably didn't make him feel so good. Apparently, Mickael tried to get the song banned at first, but that didn't end up.
Eminem dresses as what? For the just lost in video. He is shown on bed with young boys. His nose also falls off. Yeah, this is fucked up. That shit crazy.
Working. So he eventually spoke on how he felt about the bold jokes made at his expense.
I've never met Mr. Eminem, and to have him, I've always admired him, and to have him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist. And it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing.
See right there, I can just tell right here, whatever Stevie Wonder told that man, he probably told that man not to even get involved. But knowing how, I'm pretty sure y'all know how Michael Jackson is. Man is so creative, and it's not the fact he don't do what he do out of, it's not for the money, it's just for the love of it. So he'll be open to any and all artists. You see what I'm saying? Not just big time, any artist. Probably. I don't know. But it's like, I don't know. At the same time, you have people go outside their comfort zone and end up saying that it really ain't what you would think it would be or what it thought it was. But at the same time, I really don't know why M did that shit. It's a lot of shit really is just time repeating itself. People do shit nowadays. It's people doing shit like that now in the media, just trolling. So it's like, that's all shit was, just trolling. And I don't call that shit this, and I call this trolling. Cause like, what the fuck? This shit crazy, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know shit about music. I'm just a content creator. I talk my shit, and I like music. I like shit. It really ain't too much of it. I don't take sides neither because nigga, that's too. I get stressed because fuck. I just goddamn. Yeah, but yeah, I get stressed. Hell nah, I got to worry about me and people behind me when it comes to that shit. Yeah.
I've never attacked another fellow artist. Great artists don't do that. You don't have to do that.
Mickael was clearly frustrated by the song, understandably so, and in response to Michael's frustration, Eminem was actually honored and explained the whole reason behind Just Lose It's creation.
Yeah, that wasn't intentional, but I'm just happy that Michael Jackson.
Hey,
Trolling.
man, what's the best advice you can give someone that's in sales?
Switch to Monday CRM.
Oh, awesome, thanks.
Jackson has heard of me,
Like I said, he was just trolling. What do people do nowadays when it comes to a lot of shit? Rage bait and trolling. That is probably the best thing to be doing right now. Is once somebody gives you an inch, basically nowadays you give somebody an inch, they give you a mile. I mean, you give somebody an inch, they gonna take a mile. But they gonna take a mile knowing it's not gonna take nothing off of your stamina or nothing off of your. You see what I'm saying? It's just that is I don't like to. I'm not gonna say too much about that shit, but that shit been around for a minute. No cap. Not even gonna bap to you. That shit been around. So I don't see why folks were so well. It probably would have been surprising back then, but like now, we all know, man. Really, this shit really ain't even no. I don't consider this a beef, to be honest. Cause Mike, he probably really just didn't give a fuck in the end. He get paid the same, but shit.
You know,
That's the kind of cool side of
the
it.
fact that he's hurting me is that does me enough. But like the personal things, that was not planned. It was making no personal judgment on Michael Jackson. It was not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was completely meant to be trolling Jackson.
The beef up until this point was pretty one-sided, and after this, it went pretty silent. That wasn't until in 2007 when things subtly reignited behind the scenes with Michael's Sony ATV publishing partnership. This group already owned a significant amount of projects for major artists, but then they secured Viacom's famous music catalog for $370 million, which included a lot of Eminem's back catalog. Some fans theorized that this was all a part of Michael's get back for Just Lose It. While the purchase of famous music included some famous names like Shakira, Eminem was considerably one of the most valuable, with hits like Without Me and The Real Slim Shady now being owned by Michael's publishing partnership. A lot of people like to make it seem like Michael Jackson just kind of went out there and bought only Eminem's catalog, which was not the case. So even if the move wasn't meant as direct revenge, it's still a pretty funny and wild way to end the beef. And like I said, there isn't really any concrete evidence that the purchase was made solely to spite M, but it has become a trend for Michael to buy the music of those he beefed with, because he did it again to Paul McCartney of the Beatles. Unlike with Eminem, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson actually started out as friends. In the early 70s, they first started working together, with Paul somewhat taking Mike under his wing. As the years went by, the two continued collaborating, eventually growing so close that Michael would stay with Paul and his wife while recording in London. In the early 80s, they recorded multiple songs together, including Say 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 and The Girl Is Mine, which is one of my personal favorites from the two, which both ended up going platinum.
Michael originally fancied writing some stuff with me, and I thought it was a good idea. So he came over here to England, and we just hung out for a little while and got to know each other a bit, and ended up writing 2 songs.
One night at dinner while Michael was living with Paul in London, the two started talking about publishing and song ownership. During this conversation, Paul took out a notebook which had a list of all of the songs he owned publishing rights to.
I said, you got to get a really good manager, because it's all going to be coming in and it could all go out if you don't. And I said, and you ought to think of getting into song publishing.
For a business, you ought to think about music publishing. It's because it's very good business. You love music. I'm into it. It does very well. It's a nice, easy business for a musician to be in. And it's...
I'm gonna say something. Bruh. I hate to say it this way, but just to know what this man has been through and what he went through, this nigga was bred to be a star. I ain't even gonna care. I'm not, I'm not even boosting my head up. I don't care what y'all call it. It's just the simple fact that from beginning to end, it was music. Nothing else. Tell me, just so you can really just say it don't matter what the hell you. Them folks basically just did the same shit growing up. Him and his brothers and Papa Joe. All them folks was doing the same thing we are doing right here today. Waking up, going, but it was more physical back then, and it required a whole lot of more discipline, a whole lot of more consistency, and a whole lot of motherfucking practice, critiquing all that shit. It may be a little bit better for us. It may be a little bit different for us content creators, and a little bit more better for musicians and music, all that shit, singers, rappers. it's easier to get out there. But them folks really did that shit, paved the way. And man, listen, y'all better be blessed. Y'all better be blessed when it comes to this shit, because I'm telling you, he did it the hard way, the long way, and came out on top still. So I was like, man, y'all better lock in and lock out the bullshit. Oh yeah, man.
It's music, songs, beautiful songs.
He was trying to tell Mike.
Let's play with Foxfire.
Mickael, that investing in music catalogs and publishing rights was the right thing to do. It was a smart investment. And Mickael took this advice to heart, in the same conversation even insisting that he would buy Paul's music one day. However, as bold as it sounded, Mickael wasn't joking, and it ended up being one of the best financial moves he ever made. At this time, Paul was pretty deep into the music publishing investment game. He owned a bunch of songs and catalogs. He learned this the hard way though, after being almost forced to sell the rights to the Beatles music in the 60s. This was due to a tax problem in Britain at the time, and to avoid paying about 90% on their earnings. So to dodge this, he created Northern Songs
he looked
Ltd.
hot as hell
and
on
later
that,
took the company
on that
public.
picture.
While this was a smart move at the time, the decision ended up turning bad in 1969 when the Beatles publisher sold their shares of the company to Britain's Associated Television, also known as ATV. Sound familiar? None of the Beatles members or any other shareholders of Northern Songs were aware of this sale or even able to prevent it regardless. When they did eventually find out about it, counterbid attempts were made, but in the end failed. Which means not only did they lose the majority of their company, but they also lost the publishing rights to their music. The whole ordeal ended up becoming an example in the industry of why you should never sell your music's publishing rights, a lesson which Mickael learned a lot from himself. Throughout the next few years, Mickael started buying up decent-sized catalogs across the industry. At first, passing up on most of the options presented to him, only buying music which he had an affection for. But when Mickael's career really started taking off, he had a ton more money to play with, which led to him diving deeper into the publishing game. Eventually, in 1985, Mickael's team approached him about the massive ATV catalog being up for sale, asking if he wanted to make an offer. Initially, he was only buying copyrights, but the ATV package came with a bunch more, including studios, equipment, and even life insurance policies, which was common for publishers to take out on their biggest artists, one of which was for Paul. Apparently, over the years, Paul had made some weak attempts to bid for ATV, but never anything worth considering. It's believed that Paul just really wanted his music and not the thousands of other songs and things that it came with. However, since the Beatles tracks made up a significant portion of the catalog's value, it was hard for ATV to agree to selling one without the other. And eventually, Mickael decided to buy ATV Publishing for $47.5 million, which officially granted him ownership to thousands of songs, including 251 Beatles songs. When Paul became aware of this,
that right there, y'all, it's nothing personal. It's just business. That's what that is. If that's what Michael Jackson is. If that was a person, it's nothing personal. It's just business. Real talk. Shit crazy. And then my allergies fucking with me and shit. Doggone weather changing. This shit don't make no damn sense. Fuck no. Lavish lifestyle, even as Jackson musical career reached a low point in the year before his man shit. Bullshit.
he was pretty pissed off at Mickael, and he said, "I think it's dodgy to do something like that, to be someone's friend and then buy the rug they're standing on." Mickael allegedly tried to call Paul many times to talk things out, but in his frustration, Paul hung up every time. As more time passed, Mickael used the Beatles songs in numerous projects, profiting significantly off the publishing rights. In response, Paul reached out a bunch and tried.
That's some Leo shit, nigga. Nigga try to, nigga. I ain't never did no shit like this before. But it's like, bruh, if I give you a chance to make shit right, and you choose, man, listen, it's only, man, I'm surprised he called him multiple times, because I only called this nigga twice. After that, nigga, GG's, nigga. I'm like, real talk. Niggas gave his ass multiple calls to make shit square. As a man, nigga, for me personally, if some shit can be resolved with words, nigga, if it ain't even to the point to where it's physical, if me and you ain't fuming and it's just a mishap or a misunderstanding, nigga, I need to know what you know so I can at least line this shit up so I can figure out why this shit even happened, you dumb nigga. Cause I was like, what the fuck? Motherfuckers, I don't know. This situation's different, but a lot of folks don't like to be adults nowadays. People don't want to talk. It's just more, man, it's just more of the internet shit. But at the same time, when it comes to business, man, odds are against you. But you got the right deck in your hand every time, but still the odds are against you. So you just gotta play your role when it comes to this shit. Hell nah, and I'm just a content creator.
To prevent this, arguing that the music being used in commercials and other things cheapened it. But Mickael continued saying that, oh, it will only make the music bigger and more people will hear it and give you more exposure. In 1990, Mickael and Paul finally met to discuss their problems.
But I do intend to have a word with him. I spoke to him in LA, actually. You did? Yeah, and said, look, we've got to come to a good understanding here, because there are a number of things I don't like about how he runs the company. In our case, the trouble is, like the Nike thing that came up, I don't know if you heard about that, but the trouble is that we never did do commercials. With the Beatles, we had all those offers.
Paul said to Mickael that he was basically tricked into selling his copyrights while he was young, and now he feels betrayed that his old friend is using this mistake to...
This bootleg design style is making people thousands a month, but so many people don't have the capabilities to make a design
to profit off his music. Mickael was claiming that...
I wouldn't say, man, listen, I don't know.
He didn't mean to hurt anyone by doing this, and he was confused. Shortly after this, Paul's attorney reached out to Mickael's team and stated that the two artists agreed that Paul's royalties for his music would be increased. However, when Mickael's team asked him if this was true, Mickael shot this down, saying they never agreed on it. And in response, Paul's team threatened to sue. Apparently, behind the scenes, Mickael felt that Paul had many chances to buy his music back, but passed on them because he was too cheap. So now that he owns them and Paul has a problem with it, Mickael believed he had no duty to make things right. Which, I don't know, from my perspective, look, I love Michael Jackson, he's dope, but that seems a little snaky, I'll be honest. Years later, in 2001, Paul said, so we haven't talked and we don't have that great a relationship. The trouble is, I wrote those songs for nothing, and buying them back at these phenomenal sums, I just can't do it. To which Mickael responded, oh, Paul, that's just business. I love picturing him.
What the fuck did I just say? Nigga, it's business. You ain't the only one who got fucked up the situation. He didn't even know what was going on when that shit when he was dibbling and dabbling in that shit. Nigga learned from his mistakes as well. But his mistake came out on top for the better. I don't know. But at the same time, the music industry is so motherfucking, bruh. You just don't know. A lot of y'all know, but you just don't know. And that's why I say I stay away from that shit. Because, like, damn. Shit be so twisted and turned, and people be having misunderstandings, and that shit carries into business over time. People don't have time to clear shit up. They trying to fix their situation, or they trying to continue whatever it is they're investing in, whether that be music or, you know, the royalties or any shit like that. But like, damn, this shit gets complex. This shit gets complex. And this nigga is winning most of these beefs. And I hate to say it that way, but it's like, I don't know. It's Michael Jackson. That's all you can say at the end of the day, but shit.
Saying that in his voice. That's so funny. This sentiment continued for years as Paul held a reasonable resentment towards Mickael. Eventually, when he tragically passed, Sony/ATV purchased the final shares in a deal with Mickael's family worth $750 million. Since Mickael's passing, Paul has expressed that he no longer holds much anger about the situation anymore. While he still believes his initial response was valid, there's obviously no point in pursuing it any further. And in the end, in 2018, Paul was able to start getting a bunch of his music back from Sony/ATV through some legal loopholes following a lawsuit and a private legal settlement. So at the end of the day, it's kind of crazy. Paul got his publishing rights back like half a century later. This feud was very public and very direct, but Michael's beef with...
Nah, that kind of makes sense. Look at Prince. That kind of makes sense. If Paul, whatever his name is, yeah, I don't know. I just forgot his name that quick. I'm high. But if he sold his royalties and somebody else would have bought them junts, he wouldn't have saw that shit regardless. He would have been, he wouldn't have seen that money until he wouldn't have seen that money at all. He would have died not seeing that. So the fact that Mickael, I don't know, it's just the fact that Mickael held on to it and probably, I don't know, he probably doubled his shit, tripled his shit. I don't know, because he did say he used a lot of the songs for other projects, so he probably made a lot more money on the side versus what he made off the songs, period. But at the same time, this music shit, man. Damn. But nah, for real. So I'm pretty sure he probably, I don't know, would he be able to do it either way it go? Because he said a few legal loopholes. I wonder, since Mike was dead, he probably got the loopholes. I don't know. This shit crazy. This shit kind of got me thinking about this shit. This shit get real deep.
Prince was a lot more subliminal and spurred on by fans. While Michael Jackson dominated the music game for years,
my shit
it's hard
right
to
there.
talk about pop in the 80s
right there.
without bringing up Prince.
Watch that
Both
shit
artists
over and over
contributed
again.
to the genre in major ways. Throughout their respective solo careers, the two artists...
My uncle loves Prince. Shout out to Kavanje. Go tune in on his radio station. But nah, for real. I ain't gonna lie. Prince, I never just really listen to Prince, but it's like I know at least 2 to 3 of his songs. I used to sing 2 to 3 of his songs as a kid, all the way up until I was a teenager, not knowing it was him. That just goes to show talent is talent, aura is aura, and nigga, some shit you just can't help. And that nigga cold, regardless of what y'all say about that nigga. That nigga can play the guitar, sing, dance, and
Co-producer is gonna give you unique
What
sounds
the
that
fuck?
actually fits your track in seconds. Let me show you.
What the
First,
fuck just
let
happened?
it listen.
What the fuck just happened? What the fuck? Hold on, hell nah. But nah, real talk.
Bringing up Prince. Both artists...
Nah, but yeah, Prince is the only nigga I know who can do all that shit. And that nigga can hoop. That nigga can do a lot of shit. Prince was like a superhero. I ain't gonna lie. That nigga was like a superhero. That shit crazy.
contributed to the genre in major ways. Throughout their respective solo careers, the two artists rose in step with each other, growing in an almost parallel way. In some cases, they both even dropped projects at the exact same time. Although, while their release schedule and rise was pretty similar, the content of their character and music was pretty contrasted. One fan said about Prince, he was always more risque and always pushed boundaries. Prince is indirectly why there is a parental advisory label on music with profanity. And they continued on with Mickael saying, Michael Jackson was a star as a child. He was a lead singer of one of the biggest acts in music during the 70s. Therefore, he basically has two careers, one as a child and one as an adult. Michael Jackson was probably the greater entertainer. Funny enough, the two were born in the same year, only months apart, and both grew up in the
August 29th. Big Leo. August 2nd, 2000. That's crazy. You folks. That shit crazy.
Midwest. Surprisingly though, with all of these parallels, the two didn't get along very well. They ran into each other for the first time at the 1983 New Year's Eve James Brown concert, a legend that both young stars looked up to. For context, around this time the media had already been heavily pitting the two against one another, and at this show, James inevitably invited Mickael up on stage to perform some of his songs. But since Mickael wasn't the only star in the room, Mickael whispered in James' ear and dared him to invite Prince on stage. Prince accepted and performed with his own little bit of flair. This was the first and the last time that Mickael and...
What the I don't remember this shit. Hold on. What the fuck did he just... Did he turn into the Hulk?
And dared him to invite Prince on stage. Prince accepted and performed with his own little bit of flair.
This nigga is swinging on a pole and brought that bitch down. I don't know if that was planned. What the hell, bruh? My moms and pops never told me about this shit. I swear. That shit crazy. Hell nah.
This was the first and the last time that Mickael and Prince ever shared a stage. And after watching, you probably think there's not much negative to point out, especially since Prince clearly had the crowd screaming, even if he didn't sing that much. But when you look at the details, a bunch of things actually went wrong. Apparently his guitar was malfunctioning, and when Prince attempted to swing on the prop light pole, the entire thing fell into the crowd. Again,
that shit is wild. That shit wild. Not saying Prince came ill prepared, but he probably, I don't know. Mike shouldn't have did that. That shit crazy. It's just niggas being niggas. That's all that is.
This doesn't
not by the behavior, just him calling him out and shit like this happen. Niggas do that shit. Men do that shit too. So shit. People do that shit. Damn, let me fix my vocabulary. For YouTube, do some sensitive ass shit. Man. For me saying some sensitive ass shit. But nah, for real. Something on my camera? Yeah, it is. But nah, for real. It's just, man. I wonder what it would have been like if they was on the track together. That jump would have been electric. I swear. That jump would have been electric.
Seemed too bad, but since it was at a major event in front of his idol, you could see how it felt a bit embarrassing. To make matters worse, Mickael, who invited him on stage, mocked Prince relentlessly for this performance. And as a result, according to Quincy Jones, Prince even attempted to run Mickael over with his car after the show, which, if that's true, is crazy. Their beef intensified further when Prince declined an invite from Mickael to appear on the recording of the We Are the World charity single. So, in the following year, Quincy Jones attempted to end the beef by setting up a collaboration between Mickael and Prince on the song Bad. However, Prince again decided to turn down the offer. After the fact, Prince decided to explain to Chris Rock why he did that.
This is the story of you turning down Bad.
Well, you know, that Wesley Snipes character, that would have been me.
So, damn! I hate ads, bro. I hate ads. What the hell?
You want to be a software engineer. Go to boot.dev, make a free
No,
account,
I don't.
write some code.
I want to be a
run the
content
code.
creator.
Oh,
That nigga smile just blew me away. Goddamn, shout out to Chris Rock. But he was supposed to be Wesley Snipes, bro. I would have declined that too. You wasn't finna embarrass me again.
All right, now you run that video in your mind.
No wonder that light-skinned nigga back there, bro. This is supposed to be Prince. He's supposed to be right here. Wesley Snipes supposed to be right. Oh man, this shit crazy, bro. I knew Prince and Mike didn't get along, or they didn't really. I thought they just didn't know. They just weren't fond of each other, or whatever you want to call it. Let me take that back. I didn't know, like, bro. I didn't know Mike and Prince had this type of hostility towards each other. I never knew that. I just thought this shit crazy. This shit just crazy. I wish I asked my mom and daddy about this shit. Real talk.
The first line of that song is "Your
Stop
butt
talking.
is mine." Nah, I said, who gonna sing that to whom? Cause you sure ain't singing it to me, and I sure ain't singing it to you. So,
in response to this and other sneak disses, Mickael said,
"What y'all know about that? Let me go back. What you know about that? Let me go back."
I sure ain't singing it to you. So,
in response to this and
what y'all know about that Michael Jackson the Experience, nigga? Woo! Yeah, y'all don't know shit about that. Do it. On the Wii. I had it on Wii and Connect growing up, nigga.
Other sneak disses, Mickael said in a later released audio recording for his 1988 Moonwalk memoir, "I don't like to be compared to Prince at all. I have proven myself since I was real little. He feels like he's my opponent. I hope he changes because, boy, he's gonna get hurt. He's the type that might commit suicide or something." Mike added on saying, "He was so rude, one of the rudest people I've ever met. Prince is very competitive. He has been very mean and nasty to me and my family," which is one of the few direct confrontations of this beef. In the following years, the two continued to have little run-ins here and there, with Mickael repeating his attempts to bury the hatchet and Prince also repeating his denials. It wasn't until Mickael's death that Prince appeared to experience a change of heart. After hearing about Mickael's passing, Prince allegedly...
Why everybody want to wait till this nigga dead and want to squash beef and shit? I don't get that shit. Niggas ain't doing that today, so it has to be rare. It's rare, but it's real shit. It's some real shit, though. I'll tell you that.
Canceled rehearsal and went home, where he locked himself in his room for days. In further interviews, he spoke on this, saying, "It's always sad to lose someone you love. I don't want to talk about it. I'm too close to it." And in tribute, he even started performing a cover of Mickael's "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." Then later in 2016, Prince also tragically died very young, with some of his close friends expressing sadness that the two stars, Mickael Jackson and Prince, never realized how much they had in common before it was too late. And while this is a sad story, it's almost more sad to hear that Mickael had a pretty serious beef with his own brother. Michael Jackson got his start in music through the Jackson 5, a band made up of him and his brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon, managed by their father Joe Jackson. The group experienced a lot of success, and from the outside it seemed like everything was great, but that was far from the case. Inside the group existed a growing rivalry and power dynamic fueled by sibling jealousy, and eventually it even led to a brother-on-brother diss track. At first, Michael's older brother Jermaine was the Jackson 5's lead singer, until their mom noticed that Mickael had a lot of talent, so eventually he was promoted to lead singer, which you might think, oh man, now they're gonna hate each other, that's where it all started. But they were still super close.
I was the lead singer first. When he started singing, and he started watching James Brown and Joe Tex and all these people, and Sammy Davis and Jackie Wilson, it was over. He could watch something and do it, and that's how he patterned himself.
Jermaine and Mickael grew especially close due to the pairing of their unique voices attracting a large following. A big part of the Jackson 5 doing well was because of both Mickael and Jermaine's talent. In a similar way to Mickael and Prince, problems arose though when record labels tried to pin the two brothers against each other by pushing for them to produce solo projects. Even with this, the two were still tight. While their bond was strong, Mickael quickly grew in popularity, noticeably eclipsing his brothers. And even with the marketing team at Motown Records pushing each brother for their unique personalities and roles in the band, Mickael always got the most shine. During many of the press events is when the rivalry really started to get pushed, especially following the release of Mickael and Jermaine's first solo album. Around this time, reporters asked the brothers playfully if one of them thought they were better than the other.
Did you and Mickael get together and say, oh, look, you know, I'm number one this week and you're number one next week?
No, well, he's, the timing was just perfect. His album was out before mine, and mine came out.
Right.
I guess we both hit the charts at the same time.
And at times they even asked more direct questions, like when Mike is going solo and he's going to leave the Jackson 5 altogether. And I always find it slimy how the media likes to pit people against each other, especially when it's brothers. And despite this, their rivalry still seems lighthearted.
Once a act gets so big, there's so many...
Not gonna lie, Jermaine. You slick hawking his style right here. You slick look like this nigga if he was still the, instead of him being white, he was still black. If he didn't have vitiligo, y'all damn near be twins. If he didn't fuck with his nose. But I see
people that come around, the legal people and everyone, and they sort of almost pull you away. So it's important for us to continue to be a family and to stay together, because divide and conquer.
Mike even said about Jermaine, growing up, it was Jermaine I focused on. He'd walk me to school, I'd get his hand-me-down clothes. It was his voice I first imitated. I loved his sound, he showed me the way. But even when the bond seemed unbreakable, eventually the two would drift apart. Jermaine went on to marry the daughter of the Motown Records founder, which on the surface doesn't seem bad. But the problem is, around this time, the Jackson 5 decided to split from Motown. This was due to the group being dealt an extremely unfair deal, which left them with a shockingly small amount of royalties. So they instead went over to Epic Records, where they got a better deal. And this caused a problem because Jermaine decided to stay with Motown. He officially split from his brothers, and his spot was filled by his younger brother Randy. In reflection of this split, Jermaine later said, "The sense of detachment and loneliness was profound. I didn't feel like I had lost my right arm. I felt like I had lost every limb. I had Hazel Gordy, of course, but the brotherhood was intrinsic to who I was and everything I knew. When it was ripped away, I felt something tear. And Mickael had a similar sentiment, saying, I clearly remember the first show we did without him, because it was so painful for me. Since my earliest days on stage, and even in our rehearsals in our Gary living room, Jermaine stood at my left with his bass. I depended on being next to Jermaine. In the end, though, Brotherhood won, and Jermaine rejoined the Jackson 5. This time, though, they had to go by the Jacksons since Motown legally owned the name the Jackson 5. Despite the two being reunited, though, they began leaning more into their solo careers. Jermaine did well for himself, generating a strong amount of popularity, but Mickael's growth obviously was on a whole nother level. And by the end of the 80s,
See how he's wording it? He's basically making it seem as if they had to outdo each other. They didn't have to do that. It was just a simple fact that they both were talented, bruh, and it's the simple fact that they ended up drifting apart. It wasn't the money. It kind of was the fame, but it's just business, my nigga. When it comes down to business, nigga, business is what pays your bills. Business is what gets you all the shit that you need to sustain the lifestyle that you supposedly want to live. Business is business, my boy. Business comes before emotions. Business comes before, accusations. Once it's locked in, business is business. Point blank, period, my nigga. With that being said, with it being your brothers, oh man, bro, that shit is wild. I wouldn't even want to have to go through that type of shit because, nigga, why fix something that ain't never been broke type shit. Like, damn.
Had claimed his throne as the king of pop. On the other hand, Jermaine signed a deal with Clive Davis and never seemed to peak like Mickael did. And when looking back, the bitter truth came out. Mickael allegedly always thought he was smarter, worked harder, and was more talented than his older brother. On the flip side, Jermaine always felt that Mickael's timing is what made him the king of pop. Jermaine said, looking back, that was supposed to be me. That's why I stayed at Motown. We had plans, but once Mickael beat me to it, he made sure it would only be him. Up until this point,
Now that right there would have fucked me up on the inside if I was Jermaine. No yeah, because nigga, knowing an opportunity, man, I don't even want to start asking them questions. What made this nigga stay? I gotta look into that. Comment down below if you know what made this nigga stay. That shit is wild. Wow. Oh, yeah. Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna find out what y'all know, and I'm gonna find out what I know. Then on the next video, y'all let me know. Nah, let me know in the comments, cause what the fuck is going on?
Resentment was unspoken, at least until 1991, when things turned ugly. Jermaine began working on an album with Babyface and L.A. Reid. Mickael found out about this and coincidentally called Babyface in L.A. requesting a meeting. He even sent a helicopter to fly the two record moguls.
Monday CRM is so intuitive, I think it just read my mind. Again. Get out of my head.
Out to Neverland. Jermaine found out about this meeting and immediately requested to be released from his label, claiming that Mickael was tricking Babyface and LA in order to sabotage his career. Apparently, when Babyface and LA arrived at Neverland, Mickael said he had no clue who they were, confusing them for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Regardless, Mickael kept them busy for about a week, leading them on with music that was never actually going to happen. Apparently, Babyface and LA brought up Jermaine's frustration to Mickael, and they said that he couldn't care less. L.A. Reid remembers the conversation going something like this. He'll get over it, Mickael said. That's not really the problem, LA said. The problem was that he wants off the label now. Did he sign a contract? Asked Mickael. Yes, LA said. Then he'll have to live with it because those are the rules, Mickael said and walked out. That Michael Jackson was one shrewd man. He was not wrong, but you didn't expect that from Peter Pan. You expect a little compassion or
They called this nigga Peter Pan.
something. No, cold as ice. And after about a week, Babyface and LA return home to continue their work with Jermaine. While there isn't concrete evidence proving Mickael's point was to delay his brother's work, many fans and people connected to the situation believe it was the case. Especially Jermaine, who when LA and Babyface got back to Atlanta, decided he was going to make a diss track on his own brother. The vicious track was titled Word to the Bad, and featured lyrics denouncing Mickael as shallow and selfish. Jermaine even went at Mike for allegedly changing his skin color and obtaining plastic surgery. He also said that Mickael hadn't answered his phone calls for months.
What is it, 1984 to 1992? You saw Mickael maybe 3 times a year during that period?
Yes.
You sent him letters,
Yes.
packages, but he never responded to any of them.
No.
Why didn't he want to see you, Jermaine?
It's not that he didn't want to see me.
He could have picked up the phone and seen me anytime he wanted.
No, Michael don't call.
Jermaine also said, I understand he's a very busy person, but after you repeatedly try to contact your own brother and he doesn't call you back, you begin to wonder if he hasn't just completely lost touch with reality. Michael obviously didn't like the song and was even driven to sneaking into his parents' house to confront Jermaine, who apparently was avoiding him. Jermaine allegedly leaked the song and spoke on the song saying, I know people are going to go...
Not sneak into his mama's house. What the hell? Mike, you a shinobi too, nigga? I know it was a big ass house, so I know he had, and I know it's people in that bitch. He made it all the way to Jermaine without people knowing he was there. Yeah, that nigga probably is Peter Pan. Shit.
Off on a tangent saying that Jermaine is jealous, but it's not true. Michael and I have never feuded. The only reason I wrote this song, and it came from the bottom of my heart, was to help my little brother get a grip on reality. I never meant to discredit him. The song was never supposed to come out in public. But now that it has, I'm here to say that yes, I wrote it and I stand by it. Although the diss track was the peak of their beef, it also seemed to be what ended it. Because whenever Michael and Jermaine spoke following its release, they seemed to have everything hashed out. And while the Jackson family had plenty of other drama, some involving...
If y'all didn't see this performance, nigga, if y'all... Listen, bro. Listen.
Their beef, it also seemed to be what ended it. Because whenever Michael and Jermaine spoke following its release, they seemed to have everything hashed out. And while
this performance right here, my nigga, is so legendary, bro. When I say this junk comes on every year, I used to watch this on cable, nigga, on DirecTV, on Dish. Nigga, I watch this shit on everything, every year. Still do. Because, nigga, this shit right here is what, man, this is when shit was just getting real. Y'all don't even know the half of it.
Jackson family had plenty of other drama, some involving more rumors of Michael suppressing his siblings' careers. In the case of Jermaine and Michael, the two ended on good terms. And as you may have noticed throughout this video, there were a lot of allegations and rumors about Michael Jackson, which is bound to happen when you're the king of pop. And one of the biggest rumors was that we never actually heard Michael Jackson's real voice, and that he instead pitched it way down for the public, which was actually a little bit...
I heard about that shit. I heard about that shit on TikTok. They were saying that some people were saying they were sitting in the room with Mike and he put the voice on for some interviews or whatever. I don't know. But when they left the room and he said something and his voice got real deep. I wonder if that shit, I just wonder.
True. And if you want to learn more about that, make sure to check out the video that's on screen right now. Other than that, though, it's been your boy Matty Balls. If you like, please leave a like and even consider subscribing down.
That's what's up, Matty. I fucks with it. But yeah, y'all, that is Michael Jackson's biggest beefs. Like, goddamn. Did not know this nigga was beefing like that with these folks. But it is crazy how that shit go. I'm not surprised. Can't even really just get into a lot of it because this shit is crazy. I'm still shocked. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And leave a comment down below if you did enjoy this video. And let me know what would you also like to see when it comes to this. Be sure to follow me on Twitch. Be sure to follow me on all my socials. And just stay tuned and stay blessed. And come down south. It's real good down here. And it's your boy down south, baby. Bounce. I'm about to bounce.